Yes,
Did you hit it?
I hit it.
Okay, well, we're back. This is Vinyl with Taste. And I am Old School Pat.
And I am Dancehall Neil. Did you need to say something? Because we don't have to keep this one.
No, I'm fine with it. I just didn't know if you were rolling.
We're rolling.
That's cool. We're back. We have haircuts. And today we're going to bring you another ambitious episode of Jamaican roots music because the last episode we couldn't possibly get all the roots music in 38 minutes. So
I watched that one just a few minutes before I talked to you last.
Oh, no kidding.
Just to make sure.
I thought we covered a lot of ground, but I mean, just the music that was coming out in this period, a lot of people regard it as the golden age of reggae music. Is just there was some,
and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yeah. But in the in the '60s, there were the two producers who dominated, who were going head to head, were Dodd and Reed. But in the '70s, in the roots reggae era, the three biggest producers were, in chronological order, they were Bunny Striker Lee, who from 1974 to 75. Then you have the Hookin Brothers in Channel 1, 75 to about 77. And then you have the Mighty Two, Joe Gibbs and Earl Thompson, from 1977 on. They were the big three. There were a lot of small acts as well. Last time we talked about, we introduced a lot of these Striker Lee productions that we were into, but we didn't get to cover them all. So the biggest two singers Bunny Striker Lee had were Johnny Clark and Cornell Campbell, but we didn't get to cover everything, like I said. So I wanted to mention this guy, Linval Thompson, who became a major hit maker and producer in his own right later on. But this collection here, Linval Thompson, Ride on Dreadlocks, 1975 to 77, really compiles the best of his Bunny Striker Lee productions. And it is a link to the dance hall that came later. And so, keep on that vibe. We did cover a lot of Striker Lee last time, and I won't belabor the point, but let me show you some DJ stuff that Striker produced, which, he mass-produced a lot of stuff really quickly, but there was a lot of good stuff in there, too. I have a U-Roy release called Musical Vision. It came out on the Lagoon label, which me and Neil have told you about before. Lagoon being, out of print, hard to find and all that, but this is all the Striker Lee produced U-Roy, and he was just at home on Striker Lee's rhythms as he was, going over the rock steady stuff like he did years before. Another collection both Neil and I share of mostly Striker Lee productions is this Joss Stitch original Ragamuffin, 1975 to 77.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Get a clear shot.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Right on. Yeah, it's mostly Striker Lee productions. And an excellent mid-70s roots reggae cultural DJ. Probably the best of the Striker Lee DJs are on this collection called If DJ Was Your Trade. Edward King Cubbies, 1974 to 1977, which has all kinds of great stuff on it. I think it was yes, it was. It was the first release on Blood and Fire Records. It was the very first one. And it collects the best of the Bunny Striker Lee DJ stuff. So that was how I just wanted to start out, letting you guys know that we had that. So
what do you think about the I'm having a hard time thinking about what Big Youth that we've talked about. How many albums of Big Youth have we talked about? 1, 2? So far
we've talked about the early Big Youth, which was Chi Chi Run that you have. And that's really about it. We haven't delved very far into Jah Youth, who was, he has got to be the biggest DJ of the whole Roots era. You know.
Very popular. Still,
Yeah.
still recording. Still at it somehow.
Yeah. No,
He's an old man now, you know.
he kept going. There's a good like single disc Big Youth best of set called Everyday Skank, the best of Big Youth. I have the expanded a 3-disc set called Not a Universal Dread.
Oh, that's a good one. Is that a Blood and Fire?
It is a Blood and Fire. I think it was one of the last ones they did.
That's nuts.
It's a 3-disc. The first disc is all 1973, which was the year he broke out.
So they're compiling that from singles, that particular.
Yeah, this is from singles from all kind of different labels, and it's definitely.
Man, they probably shelled out to make that collection.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think they did. I think that this was. You know, speculating here, I really do think that this is one of the last releases because they were. I think they were expecting it to sell a lot more than it did. But not everybody has vinyl taste, right? So
that's right.
Yeah. I got the Big Youth on Frontline or Virgin Frontline series, Dreadlocks Dread.
Dreadlocks Dread. Yeah.
Produced by Prince Tony Robinson.
Oh man, that is good. Hold that up there for all the ladies to see.
Sure, it's got the the cheesy like pre-release Frontline cover. I'm sure the original cover, as has been noted in the past episode, these Virgin Frontline records, when they were reissued, they came out with different artwork.
But the original artwork was just Big Youth on the cover, like with a microphone or something.
Oh, was it? Okay.
So I got this one. I got the Natty Cultural Dread CD. Okay. It came with Hit the Road Jack. A double. It's not a double CD, but it's 2 albums, 1 disc. I don't know. That's that one. That I bought it for Natty Cultural Dread. That's what I could find at the time. And then we both got Screaming Target, so that's that one. You got like as many more bonus tracks than you have album there.
Yeah, no good.
On that Trojan release, and then I got Ride the Lightning, which is 72 to 76. That's a double CD on the Trojan label, and then just to talk about a modern example, Musicology, which was from 2006 or 7, where he's like an old graying. Big Youth, still with the musical teeth there, which is pretty wild. Like, how do your teeth last that long? That's a good dentist right there. It's good dentistry.
Yeah, it sure is. He always had the flashy mouth jewelry, but definitely did. So let me talk a little bit about Channel 1 and the Hookin' Brothers. Channel 1 became the dominant sound and Jamaican dance hall beginning around the end of 1975. They had productions before that, but they really came into their own around the end of 1975 with Iroy and others making that clap sound that's so distinctive in songs like Welding. And I'll start out talking about Channel 1. This is a good compilation on the Pressure Sounds label. Pressure Sounds label really seemed to be focused on Channel 1.
And they're still doing it.
Yeah,
they're not out of print.
All about the Channel 1 productions, because most of my Pressure Sounds invariably are Hookin' productions. And so this first one I wanted to show you is called Channel 1 Well Charged, Hottest Hits, and it's just a good introduction to that label, Channel 1 Well Charged. It's got Leroy Smart. It's got Iroy, John Holt, Trinity.
Nice.
It's got the Wailing Souls. It's got Lawless Society in the version, which is a pretty. It's a great song, and it's pretty hard to find. This is a compilation called again on Pressure Sounds, called Channel 1 Maxfield Avenue Breakdown, and it's just concentrating on instrumentals that came out of that studio. A huge hit that came out of Channel One would be the Dillinger CB200 album, which was distributed by
Nice, nice.
and
And
song
and then
CB200 big hit. Yeah.
yep, his relation to Trinity.
Uh, I thought that Dillinger and Trinity were brothers. I think that though I was wrong, and Trinity and Clint Eastwood are brothers actually.
That's why, because Clint Eastwood was. He's more known for his dancehall era recordings.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, he is. He is.
Since we're talking about Dillinger, I'm just going to talk about the Ultimate Collection, which was on, well, I guess that's Island release.
Cool.
It's got early stuff. You got 22 selections here. I've had that for a long time. And then the other one that I have, that I haven't talked about already, is Some Like It Hot, which is from Brook Records, which is, can be looked at as a, I guess you could say, a budget reggae roots label.
Okay.
But, still some very early selections here, and, if you can find it for a few bucks, it's more than worth picking that up. And then that's for budget collectors that want to get into it. You might not be able to afford like the compilations or the albums that we're talking about for Dillinger, but you could probably find that for a few bucks, and that's got a lot of the tracks on there.
Absolutely. Speaking of hard to find things, let me show you this double LP I got from Pressure Sounds. Again, it's more Channel One. This is a duo they call themselves Earth and Stone.
Nice. I got the CD of that. Is that a record?
Yeah, this is a double LP.
No shit.
Yeah.
Look at that. He's got some vinyl with taste here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I try. And this was a pretty underground band as far as it goes, and
it's good shit.
Their big hit was In Time to Come, which is on side 2 of the 4 sides. And just to wrap up my Channel One stuff, couldn't like leave it without talking about Mighty Diamonds, who were some of the biggest hit makers on that label. Their album was When the Right Time Come, I Need a Roof, and that was the sound of Channel One.
I got this Mighty Diamonds. Hold It Up, Right Time. Wait, which one did you show?
Well, I'm showing this one. Look, it's got the. I'm trying to see what label it's on, because you're showing the Virgin one.
Yeah, Virgin.
And this one was on Hitbound out of Brooklyn, New York. It had a different cover.
What? Oh shit! So it's the same album, different covers, different.
It is. It starts out with Right Time.
Yeah, Right Time. Ends with Africa.
Right.
Nice.
So, and the last one I'll show from Channel One is something that was released in the early 2000s, I believe. Oh, excuse me, it was 1998, but it was U-Roy, the Lost album, Right Time Rockers, recorded in Channel One studio in 1976.
Good one.
Which has U-Roy going over all the the big Mighty Diamonds cuts that we just talked about.
Good luck finding it these days. That's a rarity.
Yeah. And just so, like I said, the third dominating producer of the 70s were the Mighty Two, Joe Gibbs, Earl Thompson, and earlier on when we started talking about our Jamaican music, we talked. I showed you the reggae anthology for Joe Gibbs, the first one, which was Early Scorchers. Well, here's the second one that collects the hits from the period that I'm talking about now, the roots rock reggae era. This is Joe Gibbs, Scorchers from the Mighty Two, and it's a double disc set that is just packed with the songs that were running the dance hall from 1977 to 79. You got culture on here. You got Dennis Brown, Lloyd Parks, Gregory Isaacs, Junior Murphy, Cornell Campbell, Mercy Aiken, Freddie McGregor, on and on and on. Essential. And can't talk about Joe Gibbs productions without talking about classic albums like Visions of Dennis Brown, which was one of my favorite albums by Dennis Brown. And
is that the the re-release Reggae Rewind
Yes, it
CD?
is. Yes, it is.
Nice.
It's got well, these songs. I mean, Jamaica was always ruled by the singles in those times.
Hey, dude, still is today.
Right.
They've never deviated from that, which I think blows a lot of American minds because we've always been about our albums.
Right, album format, exactly. This album though was so big, and even in Jamaica, they played this album. The songs on this album that were never singles, but they played them like they were singles, like Malcolm X, "Deliverance Will Come."
Right.
You know, just a great record. I have the third album that Dennis Brown did for Joe Gibbs, which was called Joseph's Coat of Many Colors. Well, Blood and Fire reissued that as Dennis Brown, The Promised Land, 1977 to 79.
That's a good one.
With lots of bonus tracks. Again, we're being real selective here, folks. We don't have that much time.
Yeah. This is a little Dennis Brown compilation. Again, from what the hell label is this from? I don't know. I can't see it. It just says I have a big sticker on the back that says "Made in Germany." So.
I'll show you a couple more Dennis Browns that aren't
Do
even.
Do it.
These aren't even. These were produced by 90, so I'm just totally flipping it from where I was. But 90 Dennis Brown had a period where they just made hit after hit after hit, and I'm talking songs like "Here I Come," "Westbound Train," "Some Like It Hot," "Tenement Yard," "Africa," But so Dennis Brown and 90 big hit makers in the mid 70s. Dennis Brown, obviously the crown prince of reggae. Marley was the king. He's the crown prince. The one economical and affordable way to get all the hits that I'm talking about right now are on a 2-disc Heartbeat series with kind of cheesy covers. But the first one is Dennis Brown, "Some Like It Hot," on Heartbeat, and the second one is Dennis Brown, "Open the Gate."
Nice.
And between these two CDs, you're going to get all the big hits that Brown had with 90 Productions. And we wanted to talk about Prince Farai too, didn't we, Neil?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not what I wanted to. Well, it's one of my favorite. One of my favorite Blood and Fire records compilation they did was Silver and Gold, which I got. I like the dubs. I like his DJ style,
Yeah.
Especially from pre 1975.
Yeah. That's it's got a lot of his self productions on his own Cry Tough label, or on that CD. Here's one called this record here was his biggest hit for the Channel One label. It was called Under Heavy Matters.
Nice.
And it's got probably was his biggest hit that he ever had, which was the song Heavy Matters, which itself was a criticism of Michael Manley's crime fighting program in Jamaica at the time. Oh, let me talk a little bit about Yabby U and some Yabby U.
Okay.
I've got a Yabby U anthology called Jesus Dread, 1972 to 77.
Is that the CD, the Blood and Fire CD?
Yes, it's a double CD.
How did you get the double CD? I have just a single CD of that.
Really? Because the first CD is mostly his debut LP, Conquering Lion.
Right, which is our what our cartoon logo is based off of.
That's right. So pretty cool. We like it. The second one is other productions of the time, like his productions of Wayne Wade, Tubby's sides, disco mixes. There are also instrumentals by Tommy McCook and guest vocals by. There's a really good one on here by Michael Rose called "Born Free."
Michael Rose is awesome.
Yeah, the authors of the Rough Guide to Reggae called Jesus Dread, the CD I'm talking about. They call it the cornerstone of any decent reggae collection.
That's true.
So take that as you will.
Take it to heart.
Here's the third Yabu release. The third Yabu release was called "Deliver Me from My Enemies." Do you have that one, Neil?
Yes. Get a shot of it.
Cool.
Got that. And I'll tell you what happened looking at my CDs down here. I bought, because the double CD that you were talking about, people are selling that for $50 these days. I bought one with a missing second disc for $10.
Oh, okay. Shit, you gotta get that second disc. It's essential.
Yeah. And here's another Yabu from Pressure Sounds, Deeper Roots.
Oh, nice. I've never seen that one.
Deeper Roots, and I've talked about it on the show before. When I bought it, it was a show at your house. This is Deeper Roots #2 from Pressure Sounds. You remember that?
Oh yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I was. This is the one where like the liner notes were like he was giving an interview and he was like you like Bob Marley? And the guy's like, yeah, everybody loves Bob Marley. He's like, well, let me tell you why he's the Antichrist. Reason number 1. And he like goes through like all these like reasons why Bob Marley's the Antichrist.
Really? Who said that?
Yabu.
Oh, because Yabu was he replaced Haile Selassie with Jesus Christ as a central figure of his worship. I'd never heard that he referred to Marley like that. That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it's on the liner notes for Deeper Roots 2 from Pressure Sounds.
Wow. Holy cow.
And speaking of his ideology, we could talk about a good time to talk about Willie Williams, which Blood and Fire has a good Messenger Man, which I just recently bought this.
Right.
And listening to it, he has like kind of the same ideology, which I thought was like, I was surprised to hear, but also kind of delighted because you don't hear that. You don't hear lyrics like that, usually.
No.
Even, everybody chats Rastafari, but there's a large demographic that weren't even Rastafarian that chatted that, and that goes up into the 1980s. There's a lot of gangsters that chatted that kind of thing.
That's true. Here's a Yabu production called Blazing Horns by Tommy McCook. And it's for fans of instrumental reggae albums, like if you're into the Horns albums. And my last Yabu I'll show you is the Trinity one that came out called Shantytown Determination.
Nice.
It has Trinity DJing over at Yabu's period.
I got one too here.
Nice.
Boom. I got that. Where I got that? The funny thing?
Where?
Christiana Mall, like years ago. I like the inside because it's all colorful. Look at that.
Nice.
Shantytown Determination. Boom.
Yeah. Another cult reggae figure like Yabu was Augustus Pablo. And we did go through a lot of Pablo in the last episode.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? But
we did.
We could always show more.
I just wanted to show you a couple because I'm a completist.
Completist. I don't know. That's a big term.
This is one called Augustus Pablo Presents Classic Rockers 2. I don't know what happened to Classic Rockers 1, but I'll tell you this one is banging because it's got Pablo's one of his first ever productions, which was Say So by Paul Whiteman. And it's got other classic tracks, early productions from Pablo, like Rock to Sleep, Horace Handy, and Love Won't Come Easy by the Heptones.
Nice.
Everybody knows, well, a lot of people know Jacob Miller from his Augustus Pablo produced album called John Madrid.
As a young man.
Yeah. These are now regarded as Jacob Miller's finest work. And I'm not going to, argue with that because I really do love this album. This album is like every song followed by its version by King Tubby. But at the time, in Jamaica, the biggest hits he had were or not the Augustus Pablo Productions, on that aforementioned release. It was he had songs like Forward Jaja Children and Standing Firm, Tenement Yard, Tire of Leak in a Bush, non-Augustus Pablo Productions, which I have on an LP called Jacob Miller's Greatest Hits. I don't know if y'all can see that one, but...
Yeah, that's an LP, right?
Yeah, this is an LP.
Excuse me.
And recorded at Channel 1, it says. So, leaving Miller behind and Pablo behind. Let's go to scratch. Can I go to scratch?
You should. Now, and here's where I have an issue with it is like, what haven't I talked about? Because I blabbed my mouth too much on the last episode. Just roll with it.
All right. So my favorite Black Ark, mid to late 70s Lee Scratch Perry production is Heart of the Congos.
Nice.
Neil has it on double CD. I have it on double LP. It was reissued with a beautiful cover by Blood and Fire. Notice the recurring Blood and Fire theme.
They always say in my opinion, if you had every Blood and Fire release, you have a semi-respectable Roots collection.
That's true. I mean, they never released any crap at all.
There's no filler. There's no filler in that. There's filler in Lagoon. There's filler in Abraham Records. There's filler in Brook Records. Not Blood and Fire.
And I would say Pressure Sounds are pretty running pretty close.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I haven't heard any bullshit from Pressure Sounds, man. Yeah. But not yet. But I can't believe they're still around.
Yeah. And they're still around, and Blood and Fire aren't, and so many labels have fallen. And there have been other labels that have come out since then, like Arawak, Mikey Dread had something on that.
Wait, what label?
I have to pull it. I'll pull it for the next show.
Okay.
But this one, again, was the early 2000s, and those labels are probably folded now, too, because of just the collapse of the music industry.
That's true.
Now, Heart of the Congos, I just want to say, I've talked about it before, I'm not going to belabor the point, but one of the best examples of Jamaican vocal technique is Heart of the Congos, not just because of the Congos themselves, who comprise a tenor and a falsetto guy, but because the backing vocals on that album were outstanding as well. And you have the Heptones doing background vocals, they have Gregory Isaacs just doing background vocals on that album. Other great scratch productions that can't be overlooked in the Roots era. I mean, you can't talk about the Roots era and scratch without talking about stuff like Police and Thieves, Junior Murvin. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And do you remember how I got my copy of that?
Didn't I give it to you?
Yeah. I don't remember why.
Because I got an updated one. I got one with bonus tracks.
Oh, you got bonus tracks. Okay. Well, how many bonus tracks came on that?
5 bonus tracks.
Nice. Dubs and shit?
Well, yeah, like the B-side of Police and Thieves was, you could only get it on the single. It was called Memories, and that's one of the bonus tracks. Memories is like 8 minutes and 44 seconds long.
Good Lord.
And that's got a really cool bonus track called Childhood Sweetheart. And different versions of Rasta Get Ready, which opens the album. Another scratch production at the time is John Lyon, Columbia Collie, which was released. Scratch had the benefit of some of these releases being released internationally on Virgin, like this one, which had a great cover. And Neil and I were talking before the show about this one because a lot of people, that are new to reggae, they speculated that it was Lee Scratch Perry that was actually doing the DJing on this album, doing the toasting.
It's funny. I remember reading that years and years ago, and I was like thinking, like, because you hear him kind of DJing on different albums, it doesn't even sound like him.
No,
I don't think at all.
Yeah, John Lyon is John Lloyd. That's the actual artist name.
Like Roast Fish and Cornbread, like that is kind of like in the example of Lee Perry DJing, not Columbia Collie. It doesn't. I don't know. I mean, hey, like we discussed that earlier. It's probably people not really like nobody that really knew the music, making assumptions.
Do you have the scratch produced Prince Jaspo?
Do I? The Idol Corner?
Yeah, you have that?
The Idol Corner.
Nice.
I got that at. I love the artwork.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, I got that at a Jamaican gas station one time, like probably like 10 years ago.
Nice. Yeah, dripping with fucking atmosphere, that record. As is the Max Romeo Lee Scratch Perry production at the
Oh,
time.
jeez. Warren of Babylon, huh?
Oh, yeah, I mean, classic. Bob Marley wanted to record that song, and Scratch was like, nope, I'm going to give it to Max Romeo. and Marley got pissed.
Right, yeah. Well,
he actually rewrote the song, and it became Three Little Birds.
so Marley really got pissed off at that, huh?
Well, he wanted it. He wanted Warren of Babylon, which was called Simple Out There. In Jamaica, it wasn't called Warren of Babylon. It was called Simple Out There. But yeah, Marley wanted it. Scratch said, no, I want to give it to Romeo. And so Marley said, okay, fine. And he wrote Three Little Birds. The same song.
That's amazing.
And I just wanted to wrap up my Scratch stuff with a couple Trojan box sets. Borrow compiled them from Trojan in the late 80s. One of them is called, the first one is called Lee Scratch Perry and Friends, Open the Gate.
Open the Gate.
Which has...
Is that a double CD?
It is a double box CD, yeah.
Yeah, you can't find that. I'm gonna do we're gonna do a vinyl with taste challenge.
Yeah.
And that's if you can find that double CD. You know, give us a comment because you can't find it. I'm not saying buy it. I'm just saying find it.
Yeah, right.
Because you can't. It's impossible.
The songs that are on this CD are classics, and they were songs that were unanthologized at the time this came out, and collectors were paying a mighty pretty penny for the songs like Words by Anthony Sanji Davis or Vampire by Devin Irons. Here's the second one. Upsetters with Lee Perry and Friends, Build the Ark. Also a double CD on Trojan at the time.
Build the Ark right here.
Nice, you got it. Cool. It's got classics on it like a Why Dat and it's got White Belly Rat, which I heard was about Lee Perry talking about Max Romeo.
Yep, well, that's true. That's the truth.
Yeah, I guess they never worked together after.
Yeah, they on the David Katz biography that I did on him, like he confirmed that, like that was a diss song.
Okay, I got the here's a collection of 90 productions, 90 The Observer. I think Neil's going to show a DJ collection, but this is a roots vocal collection of the mid 70s. 90 The Observer, Observation Station, and Heartbeat, which collects classics like Junior Biles' Weeping. It's got Delroy Wilson, Tyrone Taylor's Separation. It's got early Michael Rose, early Soul Syndicate.
And Michael Rose is just one of my favorite vocalists. Not my favorite vocalist, but he's up there.
Yeah, he definitely was a very influential singer. I mean, the whole, the style of singing he started, I guess you call it the Waterhouse, like wailing style.
But he kept it. He was able to keep it, like Gregory Isaacs kind of, we lost his teeth and stuff, but He did.
I'll show you quickly Glenn Brown, who was an early 1970s producer. In the Roots era of the mid to late 70s, he mostly concentrated on producing one singer and one DJ, Silver Walker and Walt Nyrie.
Wait, what? Show that. Bring that up a little bit. Nice. That's Blood and Fire.
It is another Blood and Fire.
And speaking of the, I just wanted to bring up the icon since we were talking about Black Ark Productions.
Yes.
Nice. And this has got some bonus tracks on it. It's a reggae. It's an early reggae rewind when they started doing that. I also have one of his. I'll probably talk about it when we talk about Modern Roots, but we'll do this a little walk, which is kind of like the only other album I think you can get from him, because I think he retired from music after the 1970s.
Okay.
Because I mean, what else did he do? He didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty much an underground figure in the music. Um, he wasn't on a, I can't even pronounce the label that he was on originally. It was like Jam Music Live or something like that.
Jamaican though, Jamaican through and through.
He was a 12 Tribes of Israel member, which was a very big Rastafarian organization at the time. I wanted to show you guys how about quickly, I'll just show you 3 really incredible Jamaican roots artists of the mid-late 70s.
Let's see it.
Abyssinians, you gotta mention the Abyssinians.
Nice. Their first album is a classic.
This is their first album reissued by Heartbeat.
I got that CD.
Nice. Roy Cousins, the Royals, Pick Up the Pieces.
Made the world famous Cousins label. Gregory Isaacs has stuff on the Cousins label.
Yeah, BC something I think it was called. But interesting thing about him, I thought it was interesting, was that it took him years to make his album because he was working as a postman in Jamaica, and so first he recorded it, and then he had to print it, then he had to press it. It took him like 3 or 4 years with his postman salary, but he put it out on his own terms, as an independent artist, and God bless him. Another excellent roots harmony group. We talked about their studio one album before, but the Wailing Souls in the mid to late 70s, their second album was released 7 years after their original studio one. It was called Wild Suspense. It was a self-production. It was excellent. Got to have Wild Suspense. I mean, if you care about Jamaican roots harmony, got to check that out. Prince Allah on the Freedom Sounds label.
Nice.
This is a compilation called Only Love Can Conquer, 1976 to 79.
Prince Allah. I know I got him on the Blood and Fire compilation. Yep. Excuse me.
Yep.
I'm not going to pull it because we're limited on time. We're just going to listen to Pat talk here.
Let me run through some DJs of the Roots era. I got U Brown, Train to Zion out. That's a good one. It collects his first album along with other singles from the period.
And U Brown went forever.
He did. U Roy out from the period was called Dreading the Babylon. It had the hits like Runaway Girl and Chalice in the Palace. That was on Frontline. Dr. Alimentado.
Dr. Alimentado.
Yeah, I got his pair of LPs that released on Greensleeves right here. Best Dressed Chicken in Town, Born for a Purpose.
Right there.
Johnny Rotten was a big fan, played him on the radio, and then that kind of blew him up for a minute.
I got the green disc.
Oh, sweet, dude. Iroy, a collection called Don't Check Me with No Lightweight Stuff.
Blood and Fire.
Yeah. They don't have the monopoly on the market. They just happen to have like
they got the fly shit, man.
Yeah, they got the compilations with the best tracks because they did the homework and spent the money. Tapazuki.
Tapazuki. Patti Smith's best mate, right?
It was. This one was on Ross Records.
Nice.
So it's got MPLA and all that stuff. Another good Tapazuki production was he produced